Hey, welcome everybody. This is John Paul, Dr. Speed Selling. This is Raging Verbalist number 211. A quick warning for all of you who are out there who are watching this on either YouTube or Facebook. There is going to be some serious adult language. If you are offended at all, go away, move away. But if not, I think you're going to find this rather interesting and take it to a different level. Raging Verbalist is a topic that I pick and we go through it. I do this on YouTube, of course. If you like it, hit a thumbs up, subscribe. If you want to be annoyed, hit the notification. We do this every Friday. And also it's a Facebook group, which is the Position to Win book, which of course is my book. And with me as always is the ever lovely Sandra, who will be asking the questions, posing them to me as if she were there for you. Welcome, Sandra.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. This is one of those topics that we have been talking about doing for a while, and we're going to do it. So dive right. Well, by the way, we also have
ready to rage.
Ready to rage. And Sandra has to stay warm because it is how many degrees outside in beautiful Omaha today?
Well, right now it's warm because it's 4.
Okay.
But the negatives are coming the next few days. So, but the wind chill's like negative 25, 30. That's all.
Well, when you're down to single digits, then you just gotta know you're single digits. It's the quick Vegas story. Got the condo. We're working on this project. We would button up the condo and kind of turn everything off to save money and everything, and get to the condo, and they're on the local news. They say, or local weather. They say, well, we've been down in single digits. And I'm thinking, single digits? What are they talking about? Because having grown up in Colorado, single digits are what you're talking about, 4 degrees. They said, well, relative humidity is below 10%. And I noticed that all the water in the condo is gone, from the toilet tanks to the trap under the sink. Everything that had water in it is gone. So I had to, refill everything. But that was single digits Vegas style, not what you're doing, because it was so freaking hot, like a convection oven hot. But you are in a deep freeze. So stay warm. Maybe this topic will get you blood pumping and get you going. All right. So what are we talking about?
All right. So your pet peeve, missing on the internet. So when did you start using the internet?
So I have been using the internet early days. I was there even before there's called the internet. There was bulletin boards and online services. But in the 90s, I got seriously interested in the internet in the early days of it. Started out like so many people with America Online. You've got mail. Found out, of course, that was like not a great way to join the internet, and then advance from there. So I've been using it for now decades, and have seen it progress. The hype has never ended. It's a never-ending hype machine. So yes, I've been using it since the 90s, seriously.
And how long have you been streaming content from the web?
Well, since the very beginning, people have been talking about having content. And my favorite was that I was at an internet show. I was at one of the very first internet shows ever in San Francisco. I was the evangelist for a startup spawned out of MIT. And we were in the Ring of Honor for Netscape, which is, we got there just because we were at MIT, and I talked our way into it. And this guy showed me from Real Networks, I think Real Player is now gone, but showed me the amazing thing that was going to be happening everywhere, which was going to be video coming across the internet so we could watch it. And we're standing in this guy's booth, and he's showing me this, and it was 8 frames a second, and it was 160 by 160 pixels. Now, all I can tell you is you have to have a lot of imagination to know what's going on there. And of course, one of the things that the guy lamented was the fact that probably the first people who are going to start streaming were going to be the porn people. But all I can say is, 160 by 160 and 8 frames a second ain't a lot of action. So I've, since the very beginning was watching videos as they've progressed, and watched all of the various video formats, and then audio. Frankly, digital audio made a lot of sense to me right up front. The real question is how painful it was to get in the beginning. It was extremely painful, lots of copyright questions, lots of other things. And no, I didn't do the Napster thing. In fact, there's a real interesting story. I'm in an airport. We've had a delay. I'm sitting there and the place is totally packed. So I'm going to eat breakfast, lunch, whatever the hell we were going to try to eat. And since the airport that I was at was so packed, you shared tables with people. I know today with the whole, COVID thing that people don't, I don't know. Anyway, I'm sitting there talking to this guy and clearly there's an age differential and he's talking to me about Napster. And I said, well, how do you justify stealing music? And he goes, listen, the record companies have been ripping off the artists for years. And I said, so Napster is your solution is that, well, since all the record companies have ripped these guys off, why not me too? And he didn't quite see that ethical conundrum, but I did. So yeah, I've been listening to audio and video for a very long time.
And what have been the positives of on-demand audio video media?
Well, the positives are, certain times, certain venues that you can get whatever you want to get right now. So that's been really a positive because on demand is, I think, the direction that everybody wants to go to, right? This is, for those who want to go back into ancient times, I know that the crust of the earth was barely cooled, but like the first pitch for VCRs were to time shift. They were time shifters, and you would set it up and you would, record and talk about early use of VCRs is that people would record their soap operas and then they would watch their soap operas later and, they had parties. And in fact, we actually had a horse race party back in the day in which we played all of these different races on all of these different tapes. Kind of cool. So I think that was a big positive. Time shift, you get to decide when you want to do it and all of that. The downside, though, is that there's a lot of things that aren't available. I mean, things that you would think are available, but because of a variety of issues, rights issues, and the fact that no one had ever thought about this taking place. I mean, no one was thinking that this was going to happen. So therefore, why worry about it? Why even think about it? But then it happened. And then it became a big issue. In fact, one of my favorite, shows that I used to love was the show called Moonlighting. And it's only this year, or actually it's late last year, 23, that it became available on Hulu. And yes, I went and paid for Hulu because I wanted to watch it because they finally solved the rights problems of all of that.
And has it met your expectations?
Considering that I've been hearing hype like nobody's business and getting backed up to what I call the sunshine pump and getting all this, hey, everything's going to be available. It's going to be amazing. You're never going to have to worry about this. It's all going to be there. I can tell you that hypeness, that over the top statements has really, things are better than they were before. But it's just astonishing to me how much that hype almost never matches up to, even gets close to what's actually available, what you can actually do and find. And more importantly is that you end up with a lot of things that you're like, really? This is what you're going to do? This is what you're going to talk about? And I think that there's been a lot of struggles with that and a lot of issues with that because, of course, when somebody's going to sell you on this new streaming whatever, and there's just so many different streaming services right now, there's going to be a shakeout at some point in time because has it met my expectations? Yes and no. I mean, I've been able to find videos of things, especially through YouTube and other sources that I find and find amazing. On the other hand, there are things that I want to find because once you get your appetite whetted, you go looking for more. And what do you run into? You run into wall after wall after wall, and the stuff isn't available for whatever reason. Now, if you're thinking about starting a business, if you're in a business, if you're already going through some of these types of overhyped expectations, so what you might want to do is pick up my book, which is most businesses fail in the first 5 minutes. It just takes them 3 to 5 years to realize it. We have camera fun every week until we're solving this problem. But you can check out the book at positiontowinbook.com, positiontowinbook.com, or you can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, and say, I want the physical copy, and you can get it. If you get it from me directly, if you get it from us directly, I will sign it and inscribe it and tell you some cool things. Also, if you want to go get it electronically, it's available in Kindle and Nook and Apple iBooks. And we have a book that we wrote for remote workers, which is Remote Work for a Better World. Many of the things that we talked about were never implemented. So if you want to find out how to actually work remotely in a better, more effective way, that's the book to get. And finally, if you're just looking for a way to get some of that Raging Verbalist magic, go get yourself a Raging Verbalist mug. I wouldn't do a show without it. All right, what's next, Sandra?
All right. So what are the negatives?
Well, I think the negatives is that and we are always fighting this problem. Quality of video becomes an issue. Do you have enough bandwidth? Does it stream fast enough? Does it stutter? Does it stop? How about all the players? If you go on Netflix, they have a player that they have. If you go on to Amazon Prime, they have a player. Hulu has a player. Everybody has a player. You have to go and sign up for everything. You have to remember all these passwords. You got all these other issues. Pausing, fast forwarding, stopping, going, all of that. Those are the negatives that haven't been worked out, because while it's easy to just put something up there and go bang, here it is, oftentimes it doesn't give you that feel that we have, especially if you have the video file on your machine. So the negatives are some of the technology is clunky. Maybe it's going to get better, but all I can tell you is, well, we're going to still be digging our way through that for a while. And to me, I'm rather surprised that all these years later that some of these problems have not been just squashed and solved. And I think it's just because somebody says, well, do we really need to do it? Does it really matter if we solve these problems or not? And for those who are going to be asking the question, I actually have Roku boxes around my house and my office. I don't get paid anything by Roku. The reason why I like it is that it is a simple user interface. So I don't have to worry about remembering all kinds of things. And the remote is just stupid easy to use. So I use it all the time.
And how could this be fixed?
Well, I think better curation. I know they've got algorithms. You've just watched whatever you've watched and those types of things. However, I think that you're always in a sea of mediocrity. You're looking through a lot of crap, and you just struggle away trying to figure out what this is going to be. It'd be nice if you found something, you could go, okay, I want to save that to a list. For those you're going to write in comments and say, John, I already have a way to do that. I don't want to learn 94 different streaming methods of saving this crap. I want to make it super simple. I want to make it super easy. The machine has to work for me, not the other way around. I am tired of going through learning curves. It's not that I'm not capable. It's just, how much of my life am I going to waste learning something which, when they change it down the road, it isn't going to work? And they don't ever call me up and say, John, geez, we're going to change this. What do you think? You think you want to do this or not? So I think that would be an important thing. And frankly, when you find something that you really like or you really want to do, most of the time the recommendations they have are nowhere near as good as they should be.
And do you think there's a single solution?
And this is my pet peeve. This is your 30-second or 3-second warning. Yes, there needs to be the most important button. I don't want to have a thumbs up or a thumbs down. I don't want to have that, because frankly, those things don't seem to be connected to a damn thing. I want the most important button. And in fact, this isn't just audio. This isn't just video. This is in places like Amazon showing me books and showing me this other stuff. I propose the universal solution, which every person in spite of whether or not you're offended by this, would love to have this button. And that is when they show you something that you go and see and you know sucks. I mean, just sucks. And it needs to be the fuck no button. You push the fuck no button and you never, ever, ever, ever see that again. Boom. You're dead to me. You're Jimmy Hoffa buried in the marshes out there in Jersey. You know, you're gone. You're never going to be seen again. You know, that's what I want. I want the fuck no button. I want to be able to get rid of this crap. I don't want them to show me authors as an example in Amazon that I never want to see again. There are people I never want to read. I never want to know about. There are movies that once you spend, because it used to be the 5-minute rule, but now it's like in 90 seconds or some other nonsense. And you go, oh God, this sucks. This is terrible. And all I want to do is bring in the big giant, and I know the visual is that when you push it, there's a big giant mallet and it smashes and explodes and atomizes in a million pieces. Guys, we can do that kind of graphics. And that's the fuck no button. I don't want to ever see this crap again. Get rid of it. I don't care what it is. If I've got to sit through one more of these inane, stupid movies, and I'm not just talking about people who are, you know, trying to feed me some message that's ridiculous. I'm talking about formula movies that really absolutely suck. You know, if the movie is so bad that I'm cheering for the bad guys to win, then you know that's a fuck no kind of movie. I mean, it's just pathetic. It's terrible. Bye-bye. Get out of here. And yet, every time I've ever mentioned that, because I have been asked, I have been, you know, well, what would you like to see, Mr. John? What would I see? How about the fuck no button? Actually, I told this to a group of people who are building an app that would let you surf all of the various streaming services. They thought I was insane. Could be, don't know. Haven't been tested for that. But I tell you that there's a lot of people out there who never want to see another whiny, sniveling, crying, wussy bullshit thing. Done. Out of here. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see some of these stupid reality TV shows, which aren't even close to reality, because they have to have writers who write the script, and that's because exactly people's reality is boring. Isn't that even exciting? So that's my one thing that needs to be done to fix a big problem in the internet, because then that goes into, and since it's digitally, I guess imagine a big giant heap of crap that I never get to have to sort through and sift through again. And the last thing I want to do is have the algorithm say, well, you might like this. No, I never, ever want to see it again. So to me, the way to solve the internet curation problem for audio and video and books and all the other ways you can consume media is that I get to pick, you get to pick, we all get to pick how many of those that we can do. And for those of you who are a little shocked right now, you know deep down I'm right. You know deep down you want to have that big old mallet that you can go, that big buzzer, and you just hit it and go, fuck no, and it, boom, it blows up, you know. By the way, you know, he'd probably get me to hang on the streaming services longer, because maybe it'd be like a game. Yeah, we could gamify it, right? How many times can you hit the button, and you know, and how many things do you say fuck no to? And then, well, can you ever unring it? You know, because obviously sometimes, you know, you get involved in a relationship, and the other significant other who you're trying to garner favor from, they go, oh, that's my favorite movie. And they go and look at it, and it's in your fuck no pile. Uh-oh. Well, maybe that's proof that no matter what the physical attraction is, it's time to escape out the window and be done, because maybe we need that for relationships too. I'm just saying for media right now. But if you put that in place, I am absolutely convinced people would love it. People would hit it. People would go through on it. And we would all have our own list of that. So that way, let's say you get killed in a tragic accident. Don't want you to. And then some idiot is playing some song that, you know, is just like, you know, even in the box, you got to hear this crap. But if they had gone through and said, no, it's on the fuck no list, we're not playing that one, you're all set. because that's what the internet needs. Do that, and we are going to fix a major problem with all of this massive selection of mediocrity.
So tell us how you really feel.
Exactly.
So why hasn't anyone done this?
Well, I'll tell you why, because in a lot of ways, we live in a happy joy world. And because we do, nobody wants to literally just sit there and say, no, we're going to cut this out. We're going to move it out. Yeah, you got one thumb down. Well, I don't like that. I've tried that, but they still keep popping up. Why? They should never show up. So I think that no one has done this, because I think that the developers understand that, people starting to do this and starting to have their own, fuck no buttons. Maybe some of the crap they have on there really is just crap, and away it goes. So I think it is fear, but it is ultimately what we all know, because if you've ever done streaming, people click on something and they go, oh, this sucks. Boom, I'm out of here. But the downside of it is that we have to keep sifting through more and more of this, and that's just not the way to do it. So with that, you have now heard the Raging Verbalist tell you flat out that the way to solve the internet, the way to solve this and buy yourself a ton of time, is let's all get together, band together, and just stand outside and say, fuck no, I don't want to watch whatever it is. You pick whatever it is that it's on your list, my list, Sandra's list. Maybe she says it nicer because she's a nicer, but whatever it is, and it has to be that harsh, because you don't ever want to see it again. And if you do that, I think you're going to fix the internet. So I'm John Paul Mendoza, Dr. Speed Selling. I am the Raging Verbalist. And for myself and the ever lovely and much more polite Sandra, you have just seen the Raging Verbalist. Until next time, think about what's on your fuck no list.